Welcome to Real Fishing, where every cast is an adventure. Whether you're a seasoned angler or just dipping your toe into fishing, today we're going to be talking about where to go fishing this weekend and what's been biting around Sydney. Hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 2,000 subscriptions, and let's get straight into the world of fishing. Well, let's talk about what's been biting around Sydney over the last week. Out offshore, there's been some nice kings being caught, metre plus kingfish out offshore, trolling live baits around the heads of Sydney and along the cliffs there. Slow trolling on the left-hand side as you go outside those cliffs have been producing some really nice kings, as well as long reef and south off the cliffs. Heading back inshore, the Cicada lures have been absolutely the best lure to be using anywhere in Sydney. We've got a Cicada hatch that's happening this summer, a 1 in 200 year Cicada hatch. So there's a lot of cicadas around and there's been a lot of fish caught. Whiting, even snapper, brim obviously, and the one that's been really surprising in the Port Hacking, there was actually a metre plus kingfish caught on Cicada lure. When they opened up the kingfish, inside its belly it had full of cicadas, so an interesting thing to take into your fishing this weekend. Also heading out offshore, the mahi-mahi have been producing really well off the fads, getting there and being the first boat out there, so going out nice and early, getting a live bait, or even the night before grabbing a live bait if you're lucky enough. Heading out to the fads and being the first people out to those fads have been producing the best catches. So that's what's been biting around Sydney. Let's get into where to head out fishing this weekend. So firstly, let's look at the morning. Saturday morning, we've got a nice run-in tide. Tide change at about 7:38, so the top of the tide would be around then. What is really good about that is it's quite a big tide. We've got a new moon phase at the moment, and what I would be targeting is, again, I'd be using our Cicada lures or our top water lures if we're heading in the river. So if you want to target your brim, your snapper, your whiting, and maybe even the occasional kingfish, use those Cicada lures. The trick is with them, you got to be casting them around trees and under overhanging structure, because that's where the cicadas are hanging. They're not hanging out in the middle of the bay. Often they will fall off the trees and fall right underneath where those trees are. So if you can cast your Cicada lure in and under those areas, you should be able to find some really nice fish. If not, and what I'm going to be doing is particularly nice early in the morning, heading out to our sand flats and targeting our whiting on that run in and run out tide. Using top water lures, Daiwa Slippery Dog 65F, MMD splash prawns are all going to be really, really good to be able to head out this weekend and target some nice fish on surface. If the river's not your thing for the morning, Sunday morning also looks really good to head out offshore, whether it be targeting a squid, some sand flathead, and maybe the occasional snapper. In my opinion, the tide change is probably a little bit too late in the morning for the snapper for a lot of spots that I will fish. So maybe targeting a squid and then maybe some sand flathead as well out offshore in the morning can be good. In the afternoons, that's when heading out offshore could be the really good one to be able to do. So in the afternoon, we've got a tide change right around sunset on both Saturday and Sunday. Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon, the conditions look really nice to be able to head out offshore. So if you're going to head out offshore, grab a live bait at any of your local spots, head out, troll around for kingfish for a couple of hours, and once that sun slowly starts to set around 6 o'clock, 6:30, I'd be heading inside 30 meters inside our shallow reefs using 1/4 ounce if you can, or 3/8 ounce size jig heads using 5-inch Daiwa jerk shad style. Soft plastics, baby bass color is a really good one to use. Targeting, again, your snapper and your kingfish in those shallow reefs. They'll be there around that tide change. So fish well into dark, 8:30, 9 o'clock if you can, and see if you can't tangle with some nice snapper this weekend.